with our background and with the emerging 5-6 years ago, the need for standardized testing for in the hemp world, we pushed us to develop a method that it has to go through a whole validation and the entire process of AOAC.
Let's talk about the power of hemp, from the farm field to finished goods. Learn all about it at the 2022 Midwest iHemp Expo, May 20th through 21st at the Lansing Center. Visit MidwestIHempExpo.com. See you there.
You're with your brother.
Yeah.
Look, are we live now, Dave?
Wow, they changed. Normally I have to enter in all the settings, but it looks like...
No, I believe we're live.
It looks like we're live. I'll go ahead and hit all the rest of the buttons. Yep, we are live.
Well, go ahead, launch the show since we're live.
Since we're live, since we're here?
Yeah.
Since the gang's all here?
Okay.
All right.
Oh, yeah, we only got a few minutes, so.
Well,
Yeah, we've got a long way to go yet, Mike. But today he got his stitches out. It's actually been a month almost since he had his operation.
Ah, okay.
But I'll be here for another month.
All right, I'll stop the recording until we're ready to start.
Okay.
So.
But we are live, bear in mind. So
We are live. Are we ready to start? I thought we were ready. How do I start the...
You've got the audience all on Twitter here, as it were.
That's okay. They can... My geniuses in the back end can cut all this out in the front, so...
Good.
So, all right. So here's...
Dave asked if I could do the intro, Dave. I certainly can do a little bit of intro, but I don't have... I'm trying to find that...
No, I want you to... Okay, so I was asking you to introduce Vanessa. So I'll open the show as soon as we settle down here, and then we'll do the normal routine, and then you can do the intro. Is that what you're looking for? Do you need the introduction for Vanessa?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can wing it. That's good. I know Vanessa, and I'll just do that. Vanessa, we'll have you give a little bit of your background. And who else is joining us today?
Bandong. Grace.
Okay. And then Grace, we'll have you give a little bit of your background. You get your 15, 20 seconds of fame here, so make yourself sound as great as you want.
That'll be easy for her.
All right. Yeah, this is really interesting, Mike. Normally, when I do custom connection through Zoom, I have to enter in all these keys and start, but it just starts right away now. So they cut out a whole step. So anyhow, so we are going to get things rolling here. Ready?
Yeah, ready.
Welcome to the iHemp Hour. My name's Dave Crable. I'm with iHemp Michigan. iHemp Michigan's mission is to educate, inform, and promote the research, development, and cultivation of industrial hemp here in Michigan. And we have some great guests lined up this morning, but let's start out with just a little bit of news as the year winds down. Mike Brennan, what's going on with the 420 Post?
Well, we folks in the above 0.3 category, there was a report that came out that we published that, that by 2028, almost $130 billion a year will be sold in cannabis around the world. So kind of a big market. And the compound growth rate from this year will be something in the neighborhood of 25%. So lots of room for folks to play in that kind of space like that. And what we've seen, particularly in Michigan here, is a lot of MSOs rushing in. But then we've also got a lot of big local players like Loom just opened their 30th retail shop. Loom is the Bell Tire folks. And then not far behind them, there's a couple other companies that are major league players. And we've had a couple of acquisitions already this year, four, in fact, that one of them was his $600 million deal with Gage. So we're only like 2 years old, and already the consolidation has begun on the cannabis side. So and part of the reason is, let me give you a number here. The November numbers came out from the Marijuana Regulatory Agency. And in November, we did $153 million in adult legal sales, which is about 70% more than a year ago. So the market is really coming together nicely. it's like I say, it's a lot of players are coming in, and a lot of them are going vertical. A lot of the players that were just dispensaries and buying product from other folks, well, not anymore. Most of them are beginning to grow and have processing operations. Everybody's going vertical. That's the only way you're going to be able to survive in another year or so as this market consolidation continues to go. So that's kind of the big thing. We're going to have Andrew Brisboe, the MRA director, on 420 Post in 2 weeks. He'll be available for the whole show, and we'll encourage people to send in questions for him. There's a lot of stuff has happened in 21, and so I'm sure he'll be bombarded with questions when he comes on the show, but he likes to come on every 6 months or so to update the audience. So that's pretty much it for now. That's kind of the 2020 recap with a real quick look ahead to 2022.
Was there any decision on the whole caregiver? Because that's legislation.
That's still winding its way through the legislature, essentially. For those, maybe Vanessa and Grace don't know, but the caregivers are the ones that started the medical marijuana market here in 2008. And then, of course, we went in the 2018 election, 57% of the state voted for adult legal use, and then that started in December 2019. And so the caregivers are the ones that, medical marijuana side, that started the whole industry and got everything rolling. And now, as I just pointed out, a lot of the big players are rolling in, and they formed a lobbying group called the Michigan Cannabis Manufacturers Association. It's the top 15 or so players. And if you're going to really boil it down, they're trying to squeeze the caregivers out. They're trying to restrict. Right now, anyone 21 in the state can grow 12 plants as long as they're not visible from the street, and all that jazz. Well, what the MCMA wants to do is reduce that to 3 plants, and they want to cut caregivers from having 5 patients to 2. And it's, but it's like anything else in politics. It's their opening salvo, and then the other side comes back. And so right now it's just hung up. And of course, the legislature stopped meeting because it's, holiday week. But that'll be the big topic in January is where that's going to go. It'll be somewhere compromised out, but I couldn't tell you exactly how that's going to end. So we'll just keep an eye on it for you.
Cool. Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Lane is on location.
Yeah, it's actually, you mentioned the gauge thing, Mike. I'm actually here in Kalamazoo, been here all month, and they've had signs all over the place, gauge is coming and that kind of thing. And so it's interesting that you mentioned that. So yeah,
that was a Canadian operation. Canadian operation came in. Canada's had legal for a number of years now, and so one of the big Canadian operations came in $600 million. That's a nice exit for some people that started that, huh?
Sure. Why not take the money and run, right?
Pretty much.
Do something else. So, well, I got a little bit of news we'll talk about. First thing is I want to remind everybody that we've moved the expo this year. It was going to be in January 20th, 21st. We've now moved that out to May 20th and 21st. I think a good idea for us to do that. Especially with current situation with COVID going on the way it is. I think we all want to be safe and everything else. So what's going to be nice is we're going to actually be able to expand the expo in May, and we're going to bring in a lot of the hemp building materials and go down that route. So we're really looking for a very good and we're still going to have a lot of great speakers, a lot of great topics. So soon here after the first of the year, we'll get some information rolling out on that and get that going. So it's just been changed to May 20th, 21st. We're still going to have the Hemp Awards on the Friday night. So it's still going to be the full expo that we were planning. Just was a good idea to move it right now. So we're happy for that.
And Blaine promises to wear a tuxedo for the Hemp Awards.
I will. I will wear a tuxedo for the Hemp Awards. Yes. Now you're going to wear yours. I mean, you look pretty good in that.
Well, I got mine on now. It's New Year's Eve, so start the party tonight and roll into tomorrow. I mean, come on. So.
A couple other things that I want to make mention of too. The next couple of shows we have coming up are really going to be very, very interesting. Next week, we're going to have James D. Decker and Phil Abedi from Illinois Extension. They're the ones that did the test plots this year. So they're going to be able to share a lot of that great information. So if you're looking for varieties and varietals that are doing well, they'll have all that information. So it's a show you're not going to want to miss that show for sure. If you're doing the research on that. And then the week after that, it's going to be a real interesting show because Heartland Industries is going to be on. And currently, they are contracting with growers. Actually, they're contracting for land is what they're really doing. They're going to grow at least 3,500 acres of fiber this year in the southwest part of the state, kind of around the Mendon, Three Rivers, Sturgis area. So if any growers down there are looking to rent out some of their land, get a hold of me or get a hold of Heartland. We'll have them on, and you may be able to rent some land out to them. Now, that's how they're doing it this year. They're going to do the planting and the harvesting and everything else. But in future years, as this rolls out, when equipment and we get the infrastructure in place, then they'll be buying it right from the farmer. So exciting that we're having that happening this year. We knew it was going to be coming along. We've been talking about all these things that are happening, so we're really excited for that for sure. So next two shows are definitely going to be very good shows to listen to for sure. So we hope to see you on those Thursday nights. At
almost as good as this show.
Oh yeah, this show is a killer. I mean, we are ending the year on
it's
just
the
a
dope,
killer
as the
note
kids
here, for
say.
sure.
Yeah. So
yes, we are. So it was my pleasure to meet Vanessa earlier this year with Eurofins, and seen her around a number of times, and she's a busy lady. I don't know how many. You got to have a lot of frequent flyer miles. That's for sure. The way you're doing it. And
traveling
Grace
around
is gonna,
quite a bit.
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about your marathon thing here in a little bit too, but we'll save that for near the end of the show. And Grace is going to join us too. So again, thank you for joining us and ending our year on such a high note. We really appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to join us too. So Vanessa, Grace, I don't know who wants to go first, but I'm going to let you talk a little bit about yourself and how
Tell us about Eurofins and how you fit in the hemp space.
Yeah, sounds great. Grace, I'll go ahead and start. So my name is Vanessa Snyder. I am the Business Development Director for Hemp and Botanicals at Eurofins. And I've actually been with the company for about 10 and a half years now. Believe it or not, I actually started with the company straight out of college. So I studied dietetics at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Decided to do a spring break internship in the lab, and it turned into a job, and I've loved it so much that they can't get rid of me, I guess. So primarily my role right now includes helping our clients and prospective clients set up their testing programs, really just making sure that their products are meeting specs, they have quality products, pretty much to just protect their brand and their customers. So I do travel quite a bit, as Blaine mentioned. I cover our accounts nationally. We do have labs throughout the U.S., but our main hub for hemp testing is in Madison, Wisconsin. And I'll let Grace introduce herself, and then I think we can go into a little bit more about what Eurofins does.
Well, thank you, Vanessa. And my name is Grace Bandong, and I have been with Eurofins through several acquisitions along the way for a total of about 27 years now. And for all this time, I've been, I'm currently the business unit lead for the contaminants for Madison, which is currently the center of excellence for heavy metals, and it's also the hub for all contaminants testing. And we go from infant formula, dietary supplements, and we are also the center of excellence for hemp. And so my background has been, I was in the food world and always have been involved with pesticides, pesticide testing, pesticide method development, and other contaminants, if you will, Prop 65 being from I started in a lab in California that was eventually acquired by Covance and then Eurofins. So I have been in this world of analytical testing for close to 30 years.
Wow.
So, Grace, where are you located at then? Are you in California? Are you in Wisconsin? Or?
I am currently in Madison, Wisconsin, and don't ask me why I moved from San Francisco to Madison.
It's for the weather, right? You like the weather.
I love the weather.
Yeah, I can give you a couple good reasons, but it's interesting, that's for sure. Yeah.
Or you're a big fan of cheese. I'm not sure. Is it cheese maybe or not?
Could be the cheese.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's the lab. We have a beautiful lab in Madison. It's brand new. In fact, we just moved in there in January this year.
So, I mean, hemp is one aspect of what you guys do a little bit. You talked a little bit about the food. So what other products are you testing then? How big is your range?
Well, we are, Madison itself is a center of excellence for infant formula. So anything to do with infant formula, we could do that. We can even do THC in infant formula because I think there are other countries in Asia that, believe it or not, require testing for THC at very low levels in some infant powder. So we cover that method too. And then we are big on dietary supplements. Anything testing for what you want in your dietary supplements, and my world, which is what you don't want in your food or your dietary supplements or your hemp or your hemp products. Yeah. That's my world.
Mm-hmm. And as a whole,
all that stuff.
Yeah, as a whole, Eurofins can pretty much cover all foods, beverages, pet foods, feeds, raw materials, botanicals, pretty much anything we have in scope. As it pertains to hemp, we test soil, plant material, anything during production, extracts, isolates, and then finished product matrices as well.
And what do you do in Michigan? Do you work with folks in Michigan or coming into Michigan or what?
Yeah, so we can work with anyone around the U.S. For hemp testing, it does have to be hemp derived, but anything from potency, your contaminants, like Grace mentioned, pesticides, mycotoxins, heavy metals, and microbiology. And then kind of on the flip side, one thing that I think differentiates us a little bit from some of the other hemp testing labs is we can do the nutritional work as well. So I sit on the board for Hemp Feed Coalition, and Eurofins partners with them to do the nutritional testing to build out the database for the hemp seed and hemp seed byproducts. So, testing your fatty acids, amino acids, different vitamins and minerals, things like that. So kind of a broad spectrum that we cover.
So we don't have the final figures yet in Michigan, although we will. We know that earlier this year that when they were testing some of the samples, some of them went hot. I'm assuming you do that as well. Do you know percentage-wise how many samples may come in, or maybe you guys have tested hot in different states or anything, or not?
That I don't know if we know offhand. I mean, we can test, obviously we test for plant material that may be hot or extracts that may be hot. It doesn't happen too frequently, but I don't know, Grace, I don't think we have a set number on that. Definitely not by state.
Well, we haven't pulled out the information by state. We could certainly look in our database, but overall, just in general, across the nation, the hot samples coming in is pretty low. Way less than 10%. Way less than 10%.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, Eurofins, $5.4 billion in sales, 55,000 employees, and you're in 50 countries. So who was behind getting Eurofins involved in hemp? Because you don't see this scale of a company, international corporation, jumping into a risky business like this. How'd this happen?
It was a battle. But Vanessa was one of the prime person, and then her predecessor, the BDD before her. I'm sure you all know Marielle Weintraub.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
President of U.S. Hemp Authority.
She called one of our method developers and said we needed to develop a method for potency, and then contacted me and need you to help me with the contaminants and the pesticide side and all this stuff. So that's pretty much how it all started.
Well, it's
I really think it. Sorry, Dave. I was just going to say, I really think it stemmed from, clients in the space really wanting a long-standing, reputable lab, high quality, that they can trust. And that's kind of what spurred everything and spurred Marielle and Grace to start working on getting those methods developed.
How long have you guys been in hemp?
6 years. And the method that we initially developed was AOAC's method of the year in 2021 for potency.
What was that organization?
AOAC.
AOAC. And what's that stand for?
Loosely, it's just really AOAC now, but it's the Association of Analytical Chemists.
Okay.
And it's AOAC sets a lot of the standards for methods, especially in the nutritional side. And then for the contaminant side, they usually set standards for the minimum requirements for the performance of a testing method. That's what AOAC. So with our background and with the emerging 5-6 years ago, the need for standardized testing for in the hemp world, we pushed us to develop a method that it has to go through a whole validation and the entire process of AOAC.
So do you do anything on the cannabis side as well too, or just the hemp side?
In the U.S., just hemp, but we have a lab in Canada that deals on the cannabis side.
Okay. And you said you do heavy metals. So are you seeing many problems with heavy metals in the hemp that you're testing?
Yes, I would have to say we see more heavy metals than pesticides, although the levels that we see are it's not really a big problem. When they are a problem, they're a big problem. When you see them above the action levels, they're way above the action levels, or otherwise they sit. And the action levels are pretty high because compared to what we normally work with in the food and in the infant formula world, we're in the parts per million for hemp because it's a dry plant material. But that's what we normally see because it does really it's being a phytoremediator. It does absorb the heavy metals. And we did a test in North Carolina, some areas in North Carolina about the uptake of pesticides and the uptake of heavy metals. And we did see the uptake into the final dry plant material.
It'll be interesting. We have a project that may be happening up in the UP, and they're going to be planting on ground that has been mined for many, many years and been used to put the spent from the mines on it. So it'll be interesting to see, and we may need to maybe have some testing of you guys to see what that does, because that's the whole idea of what they're doing up there. They're trying to remediate that ground. So they're actually trying to pull that stuff out of the ground. So.
And Grace loves, Grace loves putting together posters. I love looking at data.
And that would be in the, yes, and especially in our Madison lab, which is the Center for Excellence for Heavy Metals. We do between 800 to 1,000 samples on our busy days, or on our regular days, about 500 to 700 samples
Wow.
Whoa.
for heavy metals.
How big is your lab? How many square foot and how many folks are in there to accommodate all that?
We have 108,000 linear square foot.
Wow.
I think that's about the number. And there's about 300 to 350 analysts, personnel in there, including our support, but most bulk about 200 plus analytical chemists that work in there. And if you guys have a chance to stop by our medicine lab, one of our rooms alone has about 129 HPLCs.
Wow.
And for our heavy metals, I think we have about eight ICP mass specs, MSMS. Mm-hmm.
So is Eurofins a U.S. company or is it a European company?
Our owner is French.
Okay.
And that's what Eurofins, a little bit of tidbit about Eurofins. The name Eurofins, Euro stands for Europe, and SNF, and Fins is backwards of SNF, SNIF, which is how the lab started a long time ago in authenticity. That's too many. It's a long word.
Okay.
In wine, and that's the instrument, the sniff instrument. So that's where Eurofins.
So that's how it came. I was going to ask you that question. So thanks for getting to that one. Yeah.
It's not a European swim team.
So the lab itself, way back in the beginning, started testing what? What were they doing in the beginning?
In the very beginning, in the lab in France, was wine, authenticity in wine, and that was the instrument sniff, and then it just started growing, and with I think our motto for the Eurofins motto is mantra is testing for life. So we do. For better health and for better quality of food and basically food safety that we usually play in. And Vanessa can say more about that.
Yeah.
I'll talk about methods for that part.
I was just going to add, the lab in Madison actually started, is it like 85 years ago now, Grace? 85 years or so. As a spinoff of the Wisconsin Alumni Research Foundation, with the discovery of vitamin D testing in milk. So that's where the Madison lab got its start, and really started in the nutritional chemistry testing of food and kind of built out from there.
Well, you guys can really test any kind of plant material. So you said soil as well. Do you do liquids as well, like oils and things like that as well too?
Yep, we do. Yeah, for the most part, we can handle majority of matrices. If we do get matrices we haven't validated yet, our lab works with companies to do feasibility studies and or method validation to ensure that the method is appropriate for that matrix. As you get into finished products, obviously you can get some really tricky ones with the topicals and the bath bombs and things like that. I think we even validated our potency method on pantyhose at one point. So all sorts of things can be tested.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't ever think I'd have to have that tested, but I guess so. Yeah. Okay.
Do those wearables even work? I mean, can you get enough absorption through the skin? I never really understood that.
I'm not sure if they've actually tested that part of it. We kind of just test what's on the material itself. Yeah. So I'm not sure how the technology would work.
I've seen those wraps, like an athletic wrap, I forget what they're called. And I think that makes some sense, but man, I just don't see you getting that much, but I'm not a scientist. I don't even play one.
Vanessa, you've been in this a little while then, things. And of course, we know that CBD is going through, a growth phase right now, obviously. And what are you seeing, I guess, over the last few years from your side of things on the CBD side?
Yeah, so we've definitely seen an influx with the minor cannabinoids, the CBGs, CBNs. We get a lot of questions about testing for Delta 8. Obviously, we know that's been a hot topic, probably talked to death. I know you've talked about it quite a bit on the podcast here. Topicals are definitely becoming really popular. And we're starting to get more into the OTC space as well. So our laboratory can run OTC products to be compliant with pharma GMPs. So we're starting to see that. And then, of course, and this could just be my involvement with Hemp Feed Coalition, but seeing a little more interest on the fiber side of things and applications on more the industrial side. So, yeah, it's definitely been changing. CBD is definitely not where it was in 2019, but we're still seeing new products come out.
Now, part of what you offer on your services is materials and engineering. Do you have anybody working on hempcrete or insulation, any of those industrial products?
So not at our laboratory. I know we do have a materials lab. I think they work a lot with like textiles. And I know they've had some questions about hemp, like testing tensile strength and things like that, but I'm not sure if we've been approached yet for testing hempcrete or any of the other materials.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have any physical locations in Michigan, or if somebody wants to work with you, do they send samples to you in Wisconsin, or how does that all play out?
Yeah, so in terms of hemp testing, it would be sent to Wisconsin. We have our DEA license. So yeah, pretty much anyone we get samples from all over the US, from different countries, all sent to the Madison lab.
So are you able for Wisconsin growers then, are you able to do the testing for certification purposes as well, or is that got to be done by the state?
So that is, in terms of like sampling and things like that, we do not currently do that. If a client wants, or a company wants, or a grower wants to send us biomass or plant material, we can certainly test it for the potency and contaminants, but we don't actually do any of the certifying.
Now, Wisconsin's under USDA now. They don't even have a state program. Is that correct?
I think that just changed this year, if I'm
Yeah, that was real
correct,
recent.
yeah.
So maybe it's winding down. Yeah.
So that's what I was wondering, because you said they're DEA approved lab. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if Wisconsin's turning it over to USDA, then maybe they can use Eurofins then to be for the compliance end of it, maybe. Because I see they backed off a little bit on that too, because there's not a lot of DEA approved labs yet. So now in Michigan,
it'll be interesting to see.
In Michigan, we've got still got everything through our lab at Lancet, Gakeley lab there. So
a company like Eurofins, it seems like you would have someone at the FDA. You could knock on their door and say, "Hey, buddy, come on, let's get things moving, will ya? Can you do something?"
We wish.
Well, you must have a few lobbyists though in DC, though, right? I would imagine.
No, well, that would be the hemp roundtable. That has all the lobbyists. Our lab, where we lobby is for methods and for good standardized methods and all that stuff. And usually the forum for that is AOAC.
Are you seeing beverages and gummies and other types of edibles coming through the lab?
Lots.
Oh, yes. A lot of it.
And that's one of those standards, right? As that market matures.
The standard.
Sorry, Dave, what was the...
That's where you really need those testing standards on those products. It's a whole emerging product category, that's, CBD infused beverages or gummies or, other different edible type products. People are jumping into that market already. And I've got to believe you're seeing a lot of that. So you're working on developing those types of methodologies and standards, I take it.
Yeah, for the gummies and the beverages, and I think for the potency, we have validated those matrices already, just because they're so popular. And there was, we love beverages because they're kind of easy.
Yeah. Good.
I mean, if you
is
have
that
to
a confession, Grace, or what is that? I'm not sure, So
you get because when you're dealing with a dried hemp material, that is one of the hemp is one of the most complex matrices to work with, and that's why the pesticide testing has been an issue, especially with the with Colorado coming out with the requirements that are super low LOQs, limit of quantitations, that they're requiring them to meet for certification for testing in Colorado.
So it would be a little harder. One of the major banks I was trying to get a bank account with wanted to know how much THC is in my Frisbee, hemp Frisbee. So that'd be a little harder to do.
They're not edibles, but I mean, what the heck, right? So,
yeah.
And no, but Grace, she had mentioned the Colorado certification and how difficult the pesticides were. And I'm surprised she didn't give a little shameless plug, because we do call her the contaminants queen. But Eurofins was actually the first laboratory to meet those stringent requirements. So applause for Grace and her team for achieving that.
Well, we had to pull the when it first came out, everybody was saying that it's not possible. But the one thing that we had was we do testing for pesticides for infant formula. And infant formula has one of it's for infants and for babies. Their requirements for contaminants is usually 10 times, if not more, lower than average. So we already had that method developed, and we just added a few compounds. So that was exciting for us to be able to offer that it elevates the level that we do testing and the quality of testing that we can do for the hemp industry.
Excellent.
So Vanessa, you talked a little bit about the U.S. Hemp Feed Coalition. So maybe you can give a little background on that to everybody where we're at. I'm excited to see that happen because, when we finally get approval to use this for livestock feed, it's going to change the whole face of farming for a lot of people. So where are we at on that, and where do you think we're going with that? And I've been trying to supply information along on the tests that I've been doing, but give us an update if you could.
Yeah, absolutely. So just so everyone's aware, Hemp Feed Coalition is really striving to get that federal approval for hemp seeds as an ingredient, I should say hemp seed and the byproducts as an ingredient in animal feed. So it is really exciting. It's a huge market that would give, growers, processors, access to that animal feed market. But unfortunately, it's a long road to get that federal approval. So the requirement is that every ingredient needs, you need to get every ingredient approved and approved for that specific animal. So we've been testing tons of samples to build that nutrient database, to submit that to FDA CBM. And it's kind of a little bit of a back and forth in terms of additional information they need or questions they have. But we're hoping to get that first ingredient approved. And I think once the first one's done, they'll just tick off from there. So the team has been doing a lot of hard work, and it's been really exciting, but again, kind of a long road to get there. Kind of on the flip side, Montana, they're doing it a different pathway, so they got it legalized in their state, which is exciting. But again, Hemp Feed Coalition is pushing to get it federally legal.
Have you seen any difference between the administrations? They had the Republicans, and then now we got the Democrats. Is either side more supportive of getting, like, for instance, the animal feed, things like that, or is it pretty much the same?
I don't know whether I can speak to that exactly. I mean, at this point, we're dealing directly with FDA, CVM, and have worked with or talked with AFCO. So I think it's pretty much just in their hands at this point.
And Vanessa, right now, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say, no politics involved. It's just bureaucracy and government, right?
Well, with Hemp Feed Coalition, we work on more of the science and the data generation and the research to move it forward versus, more of the lobbying, other aspects of getting it approved.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Blaine, go ahead.
So can you tell us which animals? I know that we're working with poultry. Where are we with some of the other animals? Can you tell us an update on that?
So we're still in data gathering for the others. The first submission is for laying hens.
And is it the hemp seed that we're working on? You said each ingredient. So if we're using hemp seed, and then like when I make my oil, I have that cake left over. So is that a different set of tests that has to be done for the cake versus the seed?
It is. So we have hemp seed cake and meal, pulp, hulls, oil, obviously. So each individual ingredient has to go through, the full scope of testing. Multiple lots have to be tested from various regions, varieties. So it's quite a bit of work. So if anyone does have C of A's on any of their materials and are willing to share, Hemp Feed Coalition would love to see your data.
I see Eurofins involved a lot in COVID-19 testing and SARS, and you guys have a lot going on. It's,
outside of just
labs.
food and over 800 labs globally. So outside of just food, beverage, supplements, hemp, we have labs that support pharma and of course COVID-19, developing test kits and everything like that. So Grace and I cover a very small portion of what the company does as a whole.
Yeah.
Yep. I would say the most fun and the best.
So, Grace, you're not involved, any of your testing isn't involved in the COVID stuff though, right? You're more the food end of things then.
Yes, we're in nutritional testing and the contaminant side of it. Everything that involves dietary supplements, infant formula, and hemp. And so, but we in the U.S., the operations in Madison is one, if not the biggest, for all these 4 markets that we serve. But there are, like I said, 799 more labs that do different specialties.
Being in Madison, then, are you able to tap into the college and use some of their people, or I guess I should say students and stuff to help out and that kind of stuff too? Do you do that?
We do. Like last summer, we had about, I think we had 8 or 9, between 8 to 10 interns from the college. And we constantly do career fairs at the universities, the different University of Wisconsin universities. And then this summer, we would love to have about 20 to 30 interns working with us. And then eventually about, a percentage of them do, like Vanessa, do stay and become long-term Eurofins employees. And we sometimes reach out to Michigan too, universities over there.
Cool.
Now, there's a fine agricultural college in Lansing, right, Blaine? I'm sure that they would probably be most happy to supply interns.
Absolutely. They would definitely love to do that for sure.
But send me information about that, and we would love to reach out to them.
Yeah, Michigan
it's
State.
Really difficult to get it's really difficult. Labor, as you probably all know, the labor market right now is like major challenge, and so we were the universities and technical colleges are really good places to find good candidates to work for a lab, especially for a lab like ours.
Yes, the labor market is very interesting right now for a lot of businesses. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. You know, Vanessa, I've been trying to work with MSU a little bit, and I'm hoping that we're going to make some progress this spring and summer on getting them involved with being able to do some testing for the hemp for feed as well. So hopefully we'll have some good news in that area and be able to incorporate them into that whole thing. So with that.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll look forward to seeing Hemp Feed Coalition be able to attend the expo in May and give us a great update on what's happening there.
Eurofins will be exhibiting as well.
Excellent.
I was a little bummed it got moved a little longer to be together, but I will say it will be much better travel from Wisconsin to Michigan in May versus January. Never know what you can get.
Sure.
Yeah, it will be.
It'll be nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. We're looking forward to it too. And I think, just with the way things are right now, it's crazy when you hear all the reports and right now. I'm glad I'm not traveling anywhere. That's for sure, especially in the airlines with right now. So with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's see. Let's go back to Hemp Feed Coalition for a minute. So if people want to get an update on what that's going on, you can go to www. or just do a search for Hemp Feed Coalition. There's a lot of great information there on that site. If anybody's listening and they want to be involved in some testing, we certainly would encourage that. We need to make sure that we have a good valid program so that when the results of that testing go in, that they're acceptable for USDA. So again, if anybody's interested in that, we'd certainly like to do that. You can use the feed right now in your own animals. So if you're feeding your own chickens or your own livestock or that kind of thing, you can do that on your own for your own animals. But going into the marketplace with the animals is where the prohibited is right now because it's just not approved as a supplement. So
if you eat what you grow or raise on the farm, that's cool, but you can't like sell it anywhere, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. And I will add, to become a member of Hemp Feed Coalition, it's only $100. You'll get access to, of course, the resources. If you do become a member, Eurofins also offers a discount for Hemp Feed Coalition members on testing, as part of incentive for becoming a member and then helping to share that data with Hemp Feed Coalition as well.
Yes, we're going to need the help to move this forward. That's for sure. It's interesting. I've been following a study that they did in Australia last year. They started, and they just fed the stalks to the animals, not the grain, not anything else. And the results that they're getting from feeding the stalks to the sheep is just amazing what they're getting out of that. So we know that, as this goes forward, it's just going to be a great additive to the feed for sure. I know in poultry so far, what I've read and heard so far is just the animals just do better on it. The gain's better on them, less mortality. So when all that stuff gets in, I know that we're always going to have to compete against protein, right? Protein's protein, but when you add these extra benefits in, it's really going to shine itself. That's for sure. So. Sure.
Absolutely. It's highly nutritive.
Yeah.
Silly that we can eat it, but our animals can't.
Yeah. Well, we don't have Dr. Doolittle. That's the problem. If we had Dr. Doolittle, we could probably cut half of this stuff out. So, and if they would just accept results from other countries, I think that would help too. So it sounds like they're kind of hesitant to do that, which is too bad. So,
It's a battle, but we're fighting it.
Yeah, we are. We're fighting the good fight, that's for sure. So, and we're going to need more help as we move forward on it. That's definite for sure.
Yeah.
So, Vanessa, I know you're a little bit of a runner. So, anything you're doing? Are you doing anything running fun for the New Year's here or anything? Or are you still taking a break?
I ran down in Florida, staying with my dad on the beach, came back to ice and snow. So I have not been running outside here in Wisconsin. Maybe that's why I love traveling so much, then I can get out and run, but nothing scheduled on the books, but definitely need to get another marathon scheduled soon, trying to hit one in every state. So I still have to do Michigan.
Well, we'll see if we can find one for you in May. There's got to be someone doing something somewhere. So,
I'll hold you to that.
Okay. How about Grace? Grace, are you a runner or not?
No, I'm not a runner, but I do ballroom. I'm ballroom dancing.
Really?
Oh,
Okay.
That's what I like to do. I can't run all those long distance. Sorry?
You must have grace.
whoa.
Money.
That's a hemp joke, so, but go ahead.
So Dancing with the Stars is probably one of your favorite shows to watch, probably, I assume.
Well, ironically, my dance teacher does not allow me to really spend my time watching Dancing with the Stars. He would rather that I'm in the studio dancing.
Oh, all right.
But
Well, I hope
soon you'll be dancing with the stars pretty soon, though, because you're getting so good, right?
Sure.
There we go.
I just want their costumes.
Yeah, the costume. My God.
Yeah.
I've seen some of your costumes, Grace, and they are very nice.
They do have to sparkle.
Excellent.
Anyway.
Well, I hope you have a good partner that you're doing your ballroom dancing with, and I hope you have a good partner for that. So, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about again where people, if they need to, they want to get a hold of Eurofins. How's the best way to do that?
Vanessa.
Yeah, I was going to say probably the easiest way is to reach out to me on LinkedIn, Vanessa Snyder. Otherwise, you can email me at vanessasnyder@eurofinsus.com. You can always head over to the Eurofins US Foods website. We have tons of resources. We have a whole section for hemp where we have things like Grace's poster she talked about with the soil and contaminants. All sorts of news and updates. So a couple places, but yeah, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Where is that information about hemp on the website? So I'll share that.
Yeah, I can send you a link to our resource center.
Or you can just hit share all, Dave, and she can share her screen.
Yeah, you can share your screen if you like.
Oh, yeah, 1 second here. All right. Do you see the page?
We do.
Perfect. So this is our eurofinsus.com. This is our resource center. And if you scroll down to view by industry,
okay.
You can get to hemp and CBD, and it'll list all of our information. Here's what we were talking about with the CDPHE. And you can do keyword searches and filter by keyword or, method, anything like that.
Excellent.
Oh, we can get a fireside chat with Grace.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Oh, man.
What a value there. Yes.
All right.
The one thing they're lacking, Blaine, though, they don't have a link to your hemp recipe page, which they should have on there. It's all these things you can do with hemp, all these great dishes. Blaine will, if you hang around to the end of the show, Blaine will present. I think we're presenting, right? Or not?
No, Mike, I'm going to have to say no. We're not going to present one today, unfortunately, but we're not. But I'll give a little update about that in a minute. So,
well, Dave, why don't you share the hemp recipe with Grace and Vanessa? They might be some really yummy stuff in there they'd like for the holidays, Although they're ending shortly here, but
Send it over. hemp is good at all times.
It is. It certainly is. And there's a lot of great recipes on there that we've been done throughout this past year, and we'll continue on with next year. Just with things going on right now, it's kind of hard this week to get one up to get it going. So, yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Oh, it's loading. There we go. So yeah.
There we
they
go.
are.
Okay.
Ooh, hemp. Oh, that looks good.
It's all good. The smoothies are just out of this world.
You need that RSS feed, Vanessa, on your website. All these recipes.
I think we do.
It'll make you hungry. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Submit recipes,
Ooh,
ideas.
all sorts of.
With all the bowl games coming up, there's a couple of really quick, easy hemp dips you can make on there. So those are always a great hit.
Oh,
There's
wow.
Butter.
Awesome.
You can make hemp milk. Within that. The honey glazed salmon was just wonderful with that recipe for sure.
And the award-winning hemp balls, Dave? Was that what you won the award
I don't know
for?
if we're gonna make it all the way. That's been a while.
Yeah.
I did make some. I had a special request for a Christmas present, so I had to make some recently for a buddy of mine.
Ooh.
Remember
You guys
the
are
key in
making me
there?
hungry.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, that looks
Yeah, well, see, you guys are an hour behind us, so you're going to go out and have dinner now.
Okay,
So,
so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
some of us have to
All
watch
kinds
a
of stuff.
football game here just in about a half hour. So
Yes. That agricultural college we spoke of is playing football tonight. So
yeah.
Huh.
hemp
Good
and honey
stuff.
carrot cake. That looks good.
Mhm.
Wow.
So
And then, Mike, your favorite team plays tomorrow. So
they do, yes. National semifinals.
I guess we're going to do our normal wager of a cigar on this one.
Well, we got to do the point spreads and all that. What is the spread?
I don't know what the point spreads are.
I'll check and we'll,
Okay.
Michigan
All right.
is like a 7.5 point underdog last I looked, but I don't know where States is on there, whether they're favored or not. So,
I have some very, very yummy Papa Van Winkle cigars, so you'll love them.
oh, okay. All right.
If you can get through a whole one, I'll be impressed. 'Cause
Okay.
they're pretty
I'm
strong.
kind of a Cohiba guy myself. So,
Pretty strong. So
well, ladies,
All right.
we really appreciate you joining us on the iHemp Hour.
yeah, for our
Thank you
last
for having
Thanks for having us.
yeah.
I wish
Yeah,
you a
this was
happy new
fun.
year. Let's make 2022 a good year.
a big
Yes,
hemp
let's do
here.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hemp hooray.
Yeah, there we go.
Again, I'm excited to where this is going. I was very 3,500 acres of fiber this year. It's a great start
To start.
to get things going. So we know that it's coming. And I don't know how much CBD, of course, we'll have planted this year, but we're still busy. There's still extractors still doing their work here. There's still people that are making a lot of great products from that. And there's extractors that are looking for hemp. So if people need to get stuff extracted, we have look on the website. We've got a lot of businesses listed there that can be of service to you if you're still looking at how to get your products extracted and turned into oil. So.
And on the my side of the market, I just saw a stat that showed that cannabis is now the number 3 cash crop in Michigan behind corn and soybeans.
Amazing.
Wow.
Wow. And I guess there was a little movement on the mold thing. A lot of that product was able to be put back into the market. So that was good news on that. So
Yeah.
very good news on that. For sure. Yeah. Do you guys test I'm assuming, Vanessa and Grace, when you guys test products, you also can do for molds and things like that as well too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yep, aspergillus, yeast mold, any of the microbial testing, E. coli, S-Tech.
We got to get you start testing cannabis on my side of the 0.3. There's a huge opportunity here in Michigan for you.
Hopefully someday.
Yeah. Well, good job getting this behemoth of a company to jump into the hemp game. I'm impressed. That's really good.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Happy to be here. Good methods and relevant.
Clyde has a question. Hold on. We've got Clyde, you had a question?
Got his hand up.
He raised his hand.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Is that Clyde?
Okay. Question for you, for Vanessa, is I just found out about a major expansion of a fish farm down in northern Ohio, my home country, 110,000 metric tons a year of salmon. That be an opportunity for the people fishing? The salmon fishing, feeding?
Did anybody
That was a
catch
little,
all that?
I didn't catch
Yeah,
that.
I was breaking up. I couldn't
trouble
quite
hearing
hear
you,
the
boss.
question.
Something about a salmon farm in Ohio.
Would that be like they want to feed them hemp or something?
Yeah.
Is that what he's saying?
Well, they potentially put it in their food.
Ah,
Yeah,
right,
it'd be
they wanna feed
the same
yeah,
issue. You wouldn't be able to do that commercially yet, Clyde. You could eat it yourself, but you couldn't sell the salmon.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's.
Is it beat that, I wonder?
Yeah, I think he's talking about.
It certainly can be very easily, especially the protein side, can be very easily made into cubes or certainly added to any fish food that they're making right now. So the physical part of adding it to it is not going to be a problem. It's the right now, just again, the adding it to any feed supplement or feed as a supplement. Again, if the fish is going to be sold commercially, we'd still have that problem of, yeah, it can't be done. Now, they can do the research, though, and certainly if that's what you're looking at, Clyde, and they want to do some research in that area, wow, that'd be exciting. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
I do know there's some other studies going on with the research and.
Whoop. Clyde was breaking up there.
Okay. Well, thanks for the question.
Never mind. Thanks, folks.
All right. Well, good. I love that. Audience participation.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I just want to thank everybody again for joining us tonight on the last kind of hurrah here for the year. I want to thank all of our sponsors that we've had over the past year to help us keep going and being able to put this information out. We really appreciate that support as well. And it's encouraging when, we get little emails or we attend other places and everybody says, yeah, wow, I really like your shows and what's coming out. And that kind of gives us the encouragement to keep on going with it too. So we appreciate that very much for sure.
yeah.
So
Thanks again for having us, and we appreciate the opportunity, and hopefully there'll be more down the road, and hope you all have a great new year.
Yeah. Keep up the great
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year,
Celebrate
everyone.
safely, though. Don't drink and drive. Okay.
thanks, Grace.
I'll do that, but you can't.
Thank you all.
All right.
And Mike, you certainly looked dapper today. I got.
I'm getting ready. I'm gonna sleep in this and then get up in the morning and roll. So
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, everybody have a great end of the year. I hope you enjoy it with family. And I want to do a shout out at the end here to all of our healthcare workers. I've been experiencing this for the last month, going through with my brother and his health situation I'm doing and still helping him. And I got to say, they're just amazing people. What they can do under the duress they have is certainly amazing. I'll put in my plug. I have got vaccinated. I know everybody has their choice to make their own, but if you're on the fence about being vaccinated, please do. Our healthcare system can need it. Our healthcare workers can take a break. You need it. They're overwhelmed. The hospital my brother was in was 91% capacity. The majority of that was COVID. So luckily we were able to get out of there. We both been vaccinated, but luckily we were able to get out without having any issues. But they had COVID patients on every floor because they had to put them somewhere. And a matter of fact, in some rooms they said they had 2 in a room because they just didn't have room for anything else. So let's thank our first responders for everything, the great effort they're doing to get us through this crisis right now. So
yep, we're all in this together.
Very much.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next year.
All right.
Yeah, have a great one. Our next show will be with James Decker and Phil. And we'll be talking about the variety trials. So very important. You'll want to hear that, especially if you're trying to still decide on what varieties you're thinking about for next year. And then the show after that is going to be with Heartland, talking about their great project they're doing with this 3,500 acres. So, all right. See everybody. Thanks a lot.